Do you really need to?
I'm not really sure I need to stand on this. When I went to speak at the Oxford rally, I was on first, which was easy because I could say things that other people had to follow. But actually, in terms of the speeches we've just heard, I agree with all of that, and it's kind of knocked out a fair few of the points that I was going to speak to you about today. I mean, clearly in Gloucestershire, we had a slightly different situation there than Somerset, which is interesting to highlight, because in Gloucestershire we have a lot more footpaths than they do in Somerset. Somerset is a very spread out area, and that's why the Somerset groups had to be reliant on information received and then all pile into vehicles and get to where the action was. One of the wonderful things about Gloucestershire is there are footpaths everywhere. One of the sad things about the footpaths in Gloucestershire is not enough people use them. And certainly in the first year of the Cull, we found blocked footpaths everywhere. In fact, me and my wife Tina, who's at the back somewhere, we spent 5 hours one day just on our own back with Tina said to me, "Would you help me clear a footpath? It'll take about 40 minutes. We spent 5 hours clearing it, and we let the local council know that we'd done it. But we then reported literally hundreds and hundreds of blocked footpaths in Gloucestershire. And I was at a meeting at County Hall recently, which is another thing I've been doing, liaising with the local politicians. And they said, the guy who's responsible for the footpaths said, in a normal year, we get about 100 requests for the little round yellow signs for footpaths that have fallen off. He said, in the last year, we've ordered 2,500. So well done, everybody. Because those block footpaths are really important. And it's also about what Chris was saying, about us being positive, doing things, getting out there, looking at where these badger sites are. And one of the great victories that we've had is that we have spread our message. It's very easy for us to be negative and say, oh, we've lost all those badgers. But actually, we've had some tremendous successes. And one of those is that people now ring me, because I've been on the telly a few times, and I'm the Tetbury Badger man, and if they find a block set, they ring me. And we go out and look at it. And I've reported one to our local constabulary. The constabulary has been out to have a look at it. And I said to him, we've only got one wildlife officer, haven't we, for Gloucestershire, which is about just short of 1,000 square miles. And he said, well, that's true, actually. He said, there is only me, who's officially a wildlife officer, but I have trained 25 of my colleagues up in issues to do with wildlife. So, because they now realise that there are a lot more people looking at wildlife, reporting wildlife crime, they are already gearing up now, so that they can have a better response. Now, Tina, my wife, has been head of the GABS police liaison team, and every single crime has been recorded by her, and we have regular meetings with the police, and every single one of those has been logged with them, and all the incidents of violence, all the incidents of illegal culling, all the other incidents are logged. And while it is certainly true that they have not been assessed on their wildlife crime officially, they are being now, because Tina never gives up on any of these issues, ever. So big hands for Tina. And every single meeting we go to with them, she says, what about this one? What about that? We've currently got 44 on our list that have not been resolved yet. And they know she's not going to go away. And also, they know she's going to be writing a report in the next couple of months on both years of the Cull. So all these activities are happening. But also, I just wanted to be positive again, because we have won a tremendous victory. We've won the scientific arguments. We've won the battle on the ground. We've actually pushed the whole thing back, so that the NFU now are claiming that they want an independent TB group set up in the country. This just makes me laugh. They want it so that it takes the politics out of TV. Well, sorry, but the only people who've wanted the Badger Cull are the Countryside Alliance, who's a political lobbying body, the National Farmers Union, whose office is right next to DEFRA and is a political lobbying organisation, and The Conservative Party, yes, that's right. I think they're political, aren't they? Oh yes, so there's 3 organisations that put in place a political cull. They drove it through against massive public opposition. They drove it through against an enormous amount of scientific evidence and advice that it wouldn't work. It was a massive political move, and now that they've had it shoved back in their faces, they're saying, oh, we don't want it to be political. Well, I'm sorry, they're too late. It has become political. We are voters, we are intelligent, and we are also out there on the ground. We are wildlife enthusiasts, and they have lost this. And I think this is fantastic, and I think everybody should have a massive cheer for yourselves because you've done it. Hooray! So, it's all about now what's next. I think we all know that what's going to be happening next on the ground, in terms of those of us that are out there day after day, is that those that want to kill out there in the farming community and very possibly the blood sports industry, they're going to switch to illegal killing. So while we have faced them off in the formal cull, we now need to get clever, we now need to get out there, we need to spread out, we need to find evidence of illegal killing, and we need to report it to the police, because the police are actually, certainly in Gloucestershire, waiting for us to report it. And we need to send a message to these people that you might think you can get away with going out at night and killing badgers, but if we catch you, we've got these little camera traps, we've got night vision equipment, we've got thermal imagers. We're going to catch you, and we're looking for some high-profile prosecutions so that the message gets out to the killers. This ain't as easy as you think. Every time you sneak out to a badger set, there might be one of us in the bushes with a camera, and that's what we're going to have to do. And that is what's happening on the ground in Gloucestershire. Lots of smaller groups are forming, and people are watching their own sets in their own location, and that is a tremendous thing.
Here we are.
And I suppose the last thing I want to say, because I don't want to go on too long, is that we must stay united and we must stay focused. Because I said this at Oxford, if you look through the history of popular uprisings in this country, from Boudicca through to the Peasants' Revolt, they've all fizzled out because people have lost focus, they've fractured, they've lost sight of the real objective, and they haven't pushed on with the advantage they got in the early stages of the rebellion. Well, as everyone keeps pointing out, we have social media now, and that is very important. It's very important that we find our voices as well. Because one of the things I find living in the countryside is, although we know statistically that 80% of people who live in the countryside as well as in the towns are against fox hunting, 90% of people are against badger culling, that very few people actually speak out. But one of the things the Cull has managed to do is more and more of us are speaking out, and that voice is really, really important. We should never be reticent about saying, actually, no. I don't like the fact that you're ripping foxes apart, or you're killing badgers, or you're poisoning birds of prey. We should have the courage to say what you're doing is disgusting, and we're not prepared to accept it. And that's the big thing that we all need to get, is find your voice. Okay, so let's just have a quick practice. Okie doke. So I think that's basically all I want to say for now, other than, keep at it, keep your voices heard, and keep protecting our badgers.
Yeah.